Prime Minister Keir Starmer has hit out at Donald Trump's latest trade policy, warning that the former U.S. president's aggressive tariff threats could have dire consequences for the U.K. economy. Downing Street insiders say Starmer is deeply frustrated by Trump's decision to target British exports with tariffs higher than those imposed on China, a move that could disrupt key industries including automotive manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, and food production. The Labour leader, keen to restore stability in UK-US trade relations, is now facing mounting pressure from business leaders to intervene before the damage is done. Watch this video.
We're just going to do it the easy way, and we're just going to say whatever you charge, we charge, and I think that's fair for the people of the United States.
Everybody having a good time?
Yeah. Absolutely.
You didn't know this about Trump, did you?
We are, right now, a reciprocal nation. We are going to, if it's India or if it's somebody else with low tariffs, we're going to have the same.
There's a multi-spectrum imagery to bring out the fact that actually they've started to write the data.
Thank you very much for inviting me to be here today to talk about Labour's plans for our economy.
20 years ago, Tony Blair made a speech about public service reform. And at that time, companies like Blockbuster Video and Toys R Us were still around. Airbnb, WhatsApp, and
Trump threatens UK economy with punitive tariffs, outstripping China's trade penalties. Britain's hopes of sidestepping US trade charges have been thrown into turmoil after Donald Trump signaled his intent to hit UK businesses with higher tariffs than those imposed on China. The former president, eyeing a potential return to the White House, has vowed to retaliate against nations levying VAT on American goods, branding the widely used tax system as unfair and discriminatory. His latest trade offensive, formalized through an executive order, would see the UK slapped with tariffs as high as 20, dwarfing the tense rate applied to Beijing. British business leaders are urging swift government intervention, warning that industries spanning automotive manufacturing, food and drink, and pharmaceuticals could face severe economic fallout. The British Chambers of Commerce cautioned that retaliatory measures could escalate tensions, urging Prime Minister Keir Starmer's administration to seek a diplomatic resolution rather than be drawn into a full-scale trade war. Science Secretary Peter Kyle sought to downplay talk of immediate retaliation, stating the government would take a cool, clear approach based on national interest. Cabinet Minister Pat McFadden echoed the sentiment, suggesting the UK should wait and see whether Trump follows through on the threat or reverses course, as he has done with previous tariff announcements. With UK export volumes already shrinking, down 3.2 in the latter half of last year and 7.3 lower than 2 years ago, analysts warn the proposed tariffs could deepen economic uncertainty. Paul Dales, chief UK economist at Capital Economics, described the situation as another major headwind for Britain's fragile trade outlook. Meanwhile, the White House document outlining Trump's tariff strategy goes beyond conventional trade penalties, threatening countermeasures against what it describes as unfair or harmful foreign practices. The sweeping policy leaves open the possibility of targeting British regulatory barriers, including long-standing UK food safety standards that prohibit imports of chlorine-washed chicken. As Starmer's government seeks to manage relations with Washington, the UK finds itself once again in the crosshairs of America's shifting trade agenda, this time under the shadow of Trump's return. Starmer risks diplomatic clash with Trump over Ukraine as NATO rift deepens. Prime Minister defies White House on Kiev's alliance future. Setting up showdown with US President Prime Minister Keir Starmer has put himself on a collision course with Donald Trump, defiantly rejecting the former youth president's stance on Ukraine's NATO ambitions in a move that could deepen tensions between Washington and London.
Вот сейчас идет какая-то возня между европейскими политическими элитами и вновь избранным президентом Трампом. Что-то изменилось, что ли, со времен Байдена? Да ничего не изменилось. Они с удовольствием выполняли любой приказ со стороны Вашингтона при Байдене. Просто им Трамп не нравится, они с ним боролись активно, да? Реально вмешивались в политическую жизнь, предвыборный процесс в Соединенных Штатах, а потом растерялись, когда Трамп вдруг выиграл. И потом Байден ментально им больше нравился, понимаете, ментально. А у Трампа другие представления о том, что такое хорошо, что такое плохо, в том числе в этой гендерной политике, в некоторых других вопросах, им как бы не нравится это. Но я вас уверяю, Трамп с его характером, с его настойчивостью, он наведет там порядок довольно быстро. И все они, вот увидите, это произойдет быстро, скоро, все они встанут у ноги хозяина и будут нежно помахивать хвостиком.
Trump sent shockwaves through Western capitals this week by confirming he had held talks with Vladimir Putin, discussing a potential peace deal that could see Ukraine cede territory to Russia. In a stunning shift from established US foreign policy, he also declared his opposition to Ukraine joining NATO, claiming that opposition to Kiev's membership had existed long before Putin. However, in a direct rebuke of Trump's position, Starmer reaffirmed the UK's unwavering support for Ukraine's NATO aspirations during a call with President Volodymyr Zelensky on Friday. According to Downing Street, Starmer assured Zelensky that Britain remained committed to keeping Ukraine on an irreversible path to NATO and pledged continued military and economic aid for as long as it's needed. The UK Prime Minister's intervention places him squarely at odds with Trump, whose unexpected diplomatic maneuvering with Russia's autocratic leader has rattled Western allies. Growing alarm in Europe over Trump. Putin talks. Trump's back-channel discussions with Putin, reportedly set to continue with face-to-face talks in Saudi Arabia, have ignited concerns across Europe, with several senior figures warning of a dangerous precedent. German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock admitted the development came very much out of the blue, while former UK Defense Secretary Ben Wallace went further, likening Trump's approach to the infamous appeasement policies of Neville Chamberlain in 1938. This year's Munich Security Conference seems set to mirror the disastrous gathering of 1938, when Europe stood blind in the face of Hitler's duplicity, Wallace warned. The stench of appeasement is once again returning to Munich. Tory MP and former Defense Minister Tobias Ellwood echoed those concerns, cautioning against any peace deal that would see Ukraine surrender territory in exchange for an end to the conflict. Once again, in this city, a peace deal is being stitched together by ceding terrain to an aggressor in the hope of avoiding a wider war, he said. The strategy of peace for our time, as Chamberlain famously claimed, has no better chance of success today. A transatlantic rift looms. Trump's stance on Ukraine marks a sharp break from the Western consensus, creating a potential transatlantic rift between the U.S. and key European allies. While the former U.S. president remains committed to forging his own path on foreign policy, Starmer's firm rejection of Trump's position signals that Britain will not follow Washington's lead on Ukraine without question. With NATO unity under strain and world leaders gathering in Munich this weekend, the showdown between Trump and his European counterparts, now including Starmer, is set to escalate. Whether the UK's defiant stance will strengthen Western resolve or deepen divisions remains to be seen. Thanks for watching. Stay connected. Don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up with our latest videos and stay ahead of the curve on the issues shaping our world. For even more, join our free Telegram group, link in the description, for uncensored, no-holds barred discussions on the topics that matter most. Be part of the conversation. Your voice counts.